Hey guys, how's it going? This week's podcast is brought to you by Flex Investments. If you're looking to buy a home, to sell a home, to rent a home, then definitely reach out to our dear friend Dunny. You can reach out to him at flexinvestments.net or you can call him at 573-714-4499. All right, guys, so we're back again with another episode of the Daily American Republic podcast, and we're here with the one and only James Dupre. James, welcome to the DAR.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Yes, sir. How does it feel being in, as we call it, the Bluff?
Oh, is that what it's called, the Bluff? No, it's a beautiful day, first of all, thankfully. But I've never been in this part of Missouri before, so I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah, I think this part of Missouri really gives you that old American feel. Mm-hmm. It's like I said earlier, like when you first walked in, I'm really from Florida, so
Yeah.
I'm going to rep Florida for the rest of my life. But this really gives you that old American feel. That's why we like this view. And so, welcome. We're so glad to have you in Southeast Missouri.
Thank you.
I know that you guys are here for the More Life Tour, right?
Correct. Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the More Live Tour, how that came about? I know it started pre-COVID 2019,
Yeah.
and kind of just catch us up with that.
Yeah, so Randy and I had met in 2012 on the set of a movie shortly before his stroke, and we became friends. And throughout the years immediately following his stroke, he was going through a lot of therapy and different things, trying to get better. And after 6 years of that, in 2019, he was ready to go back on the road. He missed his band and his fans and everything, and so they were trying to come up with an idea of how do we bring his music back out on the road. And he went back to his original band, and they were all on board. So they had known me for a while, and I had worked with Randy's career-long producer Kyle Lenning, and so Kyle had already told Randy and Mary about me through those years before we had met, and kind of knew that we had a similar style, and our tone was similar, and our delivery style was similar. And so in 2019, when they came up with the idea to tour, they asked me if I would be willing to do it, and I immediately said yes, of course. But of course, then I thought about it, and I was like, man, the gravity of what I just agreed
Just said he had to was like crazy.
Yeah, it hit me, and but I was honored to be asked, and I didn't take it lightly, and I don't take it lightly.
Now, even before that, so I love the idea of like everyone looks at a person like yourself, or a person like me, or anyone who's doing something they love, right? And they think that person is like an overnight success, an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
And some, I'm not sure what the guy's name is, but he said the average overnight success takes at least 15 years, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So you were already doing YouTube. I think you and I know they talk about Justin Bieber, but I think I watched one of your videos from 18 years ago.
Yeah,
18
I
years
think
ago.
2007 was when I first posted my first videos.
So you were already getting yourself prepared before that moment, right? And I think now you have 12 million plus views on your videos. They've reached all over the world. You went on The Voice,
Yep.
right? Tell us about just the whole journey from starting YouTube, getting to The Voice and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so at first I was, I started going to college to be a meteorologist.
Yeah, I
believe it or
saw
not.
that.
So it was at that time that I joined a band, and I realized my true passion was always music, and weather, it's a close second. It's a hobby of mine still, but
Right.
that's when I realized I wanted to focus on music. So I quit school, became a paramedic, which is what my dad did for 35
Right.
years. That just seemed like a logical step for me to just get a job and work on my music, And so I did that. I became a paramedic. I was a medic for 6 years, and that was whenever YouTube first came around. And in 2007, I started making YouTube videos just as a hobby.
Right.
And I quickly realized that, whenever I was getting views and comments from people all over the world, this was something pretty special. And it was in 2010 that I got an email from a producer from the Ellen Show.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was invited to perform on her show, and that was when I realized this is no longer a hobby. I'm focusing on music full time.
Mm-hmm.
And right after that is whenever I moved to Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that moment like? Okay, like you get the call or the email, you go on Ellen. What is that moment like for you?
Well, I thought it was a joke at first, and I was there's no way, this is real.
Yeah.
But no, I called them, and they were like, "Can you be out here next week?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call my boss and let him know." But yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll give me some time off.
And like I know, like with paramedics, it's like 2 days on, 4 days off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were doing 24 on, 48 off at the time.
24 on, 24 hours on.
Yeah.
Got you. What do you think the world of being a paramedic or an EMT has changed since you left out of that career path?
I think so. My dad just retired from it last year, and I have a younger brother who still works for that same company. He's also a paramedic. So I still hear a lot about, how things have changed, and I try not to keep up with it too much though, because
you miss it?
Well, I do miss it sometimes, but I've already kind of moved on from that. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
I feel like if I ask them too many questions, I might miss it too much.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So after Ellen happens, you get a record deal with Warner Brother Music in Nashville.
Yep.
Right? Big deal. And then was The Voice season 9, was it after that?
Yeah, so I was with Warner for a few years, and as it happens all the time in Nashville, it just didn't work, and so
Right.
I left the label.
Yeah.
And that's whenever I had to figure out what was my next step, and so I tried out for The Voice, and I'm thankful that I did.
Okay, so what is that whole experience really like? So I have 2 friends right now. Again, I told you I traveled with singers. Man, the experience all over the world, it's insane,
Yeah.
right? But they have all of these like auditions for The Voice. What is the whole experience like when you're going on The Voice? Is everything that you see real, genuine, authentic, or is it like they find a good singer and say, "Hey, we're gonna bring you on"? Then they find a bad guy. How does that all work out?
Well, I think with The Voice, it wasn't like, I feel like with American Idol, they would throw in some bad singers just for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
But with The Voice, it was not like that. At least as far as when we all got past all of the off-camera auditions, because you have to audition like 2 or 3 times off-camera in front of like the NBC executives and things like that.
Yeah.
Once we got through all that, everybody was really good. Everybody was really talented, and I was just amongst so many talented people. It was such an amazing time, But as far as like what the crew of the show is thinking, or if they're planning anything, they don't really tell us any of that, So I don't really know as far as what's
Logistics,
scripted, or whatnot.
Yeah. So now you were on Adam's team.
Yes.
Do you and Adam still keep in touch, or is it like
No.
once you're done?
Now, he probably keeps up with a few of his past contestants, but I only made it like halfway through the season, so I didn't really have a lot of one-on-one time with him.
And then the movie came after that, right?
That was that same year it was released. Yeah, we had filmed the movie before Randy's stroke, but then it took a few years to get it finished, and so yeah, it did come out in 2015.
Okay, so now the town you grew up in Louisiana, is that more of a small town?
Yeah, it's
one-light
unincorporated.
town, unincorporated town.
Yeah, it's called Bayou Chico. The way people from Louisiana don't know where it is unless you say it's near Chico State Park.
And it's not Geechee, right? Is it Geechee? Or no, what is it called? The group in Louisiana that gator hunting, and there's a Cajun.
Oh, Cajun, yeah.
Cajun, sorry.
Yeah.
Geechee's from North Carolina. If anyone is wondering.
I'm like, I don't know that term.
Yeah. No. Geechee's a group from North Carolina that still has kept they're either African or like their dialect.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an island off of North Carolina?
Yes, an island off of North Carolina. It's where like a ton of the slaves came over.
Yeah.
And the slaves and Caucasians over time, they kind of just mixed. And you still have a lot of that African, but then I think in Louisiana, there's 2 sets. There are I know like when it comes to Cajun, I forgot how they speak. Like they speak with a
Well, it's basically French, but it's not like the
Yeah.
French you hear in France.
Yes.
A lot of it came down from French Canada, and then they just kind of made up their own dialect. It kind of blended English
Right.
and French together.
Right.
My grandparents spoke a blend of mix
Okay.
of
So I
French
was
and
wondering.
English, but my great grandparents spoke only French.
Wow.
So I remember being a little kid and my great grandparents spoke French, and we didn't really understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was completely normal. But yeah, it's a very unique area.
So you go from there to the big city of Nashville. Totally different.
Yeah,
Unincorporated, incorporated.
yeah.
Good food, home cooked meals. What's happening in Nashville? Is it similar for you? Was it different or?
Well, for me, when I moved to Nashville, I had already had a record deal, so it was scary to move to a big city like that. But thankfully, I went there and I already had a purpose, and I already had things going on. I was already writing with really great songwriters and things like that. So I just hit the ground running as soon as I moved up there.
Okay. And so being in the industry as far as YouTube, 2007 and so on, like, do you think that really helped you grow that thick skin to survive when you got out there? Because I'm assuming just like LA, and then like if you're an actor, especially an actor of color, Atlanta is the place to. Now Atlanta's for everybody. I mean, all of the major studios are in Atlanta, but there's a lot of struggling artists and actors out there trying to make it.
Yeah.
Was it the same way for Nashville, where people were just ramen noodles and trying to figure it out? Or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you didn't know who these people were. I mean, you could go anywhere to a restaurant or anywhere. I mean, and there's somebody in there who's a songwriter or a singer or a musician who's just trying to make ends meet and trying to follow a dream.
Yeah, I think a lot of people too want to do what you're doing. I did it for 5 or 6 years full time, but what they don't really understand is what you have to leave behind oftentimes.
Right.
Your first album, you talked quite a bit about, I know the first song you talked a lot about home, right? What was that era of James thinking when he wrote Stoned, right? Or is it, it's Stoned, right?
Stoned to death.
Stoned to death. And then what was James thinking when he wrote It's Happening now?
It's all happening.
It's all happening.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, well, first of all, Stoned to Death is a song that I didn't write, but a couple of friends of mine wrote it, and I fell in love with it immediately, and I knew that I had to cut it, and they thankfully let me.
Yeah.
At that time, it was, I was fresh off The Voice when Stoned to Death came out, and before The Voice, even leading up to The Voice, I was missing home. I had moved away. It was a few years, and my first wife, and I were divorced, and so my kids were living in Louisiana, and they were very small, and so the sacrifices that you have to make to chase a dream, and I remember thinking at the time, that one of these days it's all going to be worth it. You know what I mean? And you just keep telling yourself that. You just keep plugging along. And I didn't have a plan B when I moved to Nashville. There was only plan A. And so I didn't have anything to fall back on, or I didn't want to do anything else but music. And so that's just how I kept persevering. I didn't have another option.
Right. Take me through that moment, the toughest moment. You're done. You feel like you're done. You want to throw in the towel, and maybe God is like, no, you're called to do this for the rest of your life.
Yeah, well, it was, towards the end of my time with Warner, we were just trying to figure out what direction to go, because it was a lot of, I'm more traditional leaning, and at that time it was basically the opposite of what was going on. And so, there was a lot of frustration involved, and just not knowing. The uncertainty is really what's so scary about the music business is because you can
Come on, talk about
you can be you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
You can be on top of the world in 1 week and then feeling like it's the end of the road the next week, and it's just a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is, and you have to just learn how to go with the flow.
Oh my gosh. By the way, Ethan told me, he's like, when you get excited, don't jump in and cut people off. I'm literally over here. If you see my fist balled up, I just got excited. I'm like, oh my God. Well, no, because it's like, again, I'm not a singer, although I'm not a singer a little bit. I have a shower voice,
Yeah.
I have a good one. But man, it's so crazy how, there are times where I'm standing in front of 60, 70,000 people, and I'm just, what it's like to get the crowd fired up,
Yeah.
and they go crazy.
Yeah.
And I was in Africa, and there's maybe 16,000 people here, and when they get excited in Africa, they take their chairs and they wave their chairs in the air,
Uh-huh.
And to go from hotels every single night, and you're not having to book the rooms. All you do is you're given a key card. You know where to go. The food is prepared, and then all in one night, it's like all that is gone.
It's over.
And you go through this. While doing it, I was going through this burnout because if anyone about the industry, it's nonstop. But when it's done, it's almost like you have to almost like find yourself again, because you kind of got lost in it. Well, at least for me, how do you deal with burnout, or have you ever dealt with burnout at some point?
I don't know about burnout really. I mean, when I was a paramedic, I did get burned out on that for sure. With music though, like for example, when I was on The Voice, right? It basically the whole year of 2015, I was working on The Voice, and we were all there together. A lot of the contestants, we were there months before the show even aired, just doing taping and rehearsing and other things. And so, that's just, you're riding that wave that whole time, and then when it comes to an end, it's such a like, now what?
You feel lost.
Yeah.
I felt lost.
Yeah. It's like, well, now what do I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you just got to like pick yourself back up and find the next thing,
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will read a certain chapter of your life and say, I want to do that. And I'm like, if you knew the chapters that came before this, like for me, just like in the last, 2-3 years, probably experienced homelessness at least 3-4 times.
Wow.
Because I was in one industry since I was like 21, 22.
Yeah.
That's all I'd done. And so you go to a job and they're like, yeah, you've met all these people, you've done all this work, but, and so you kind of try to pick yourself up. So everyone will read the chapter now and say, I want that. But no one is really willing to go through those nights that there were no cameras.
Yeah.
There was no Randy Travis patting you on the back.
Yeah.
A legend, by the way.
Yeah.
Saying, you're the next one kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I really admire what you've done. And so it's one thing to build a following online, but it's totally different when legends come behind you and say, hey, you've got it, right?
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
And I think we live in a time now too where everyone is more focused on validation from likes, but there's no mentors. What is that relationship like with you and Randy Travis?
Well, for me growing up, he was a hero of mine.
Oh yeah.
And
for all of us.
For like, I remember hearing his vocals and just being like, I want to do that, and I just focused on really good, strong vocalists like him,
Right.
and Vince Gill and Alan Jackson.
Oh,
and,
George Strait was another one.
Yep.
Yeah.
George Jones. I mean, so that's who I really focused on, and
Right.
And so, working with Kyle Lenning, Randy's producer at that time, was just another one of those things. Like it was validating for me, because it felt like, okay, I'm doing something right. It felt right, and so to be working with Randy now and to have him now we've done this tour for a few years, and he's always been approving of the job that I'm doing. And so that, for me, it just keeps me motivated and keeps me going, and keeps me knowing that I'm doing something right. And whenever the fans, who Randy Travis fans, they're pretty hardcore. I mean, they're not going, they will call you out if you're not, and that's the shoes that I knew I had to fill when we first started this. And I was putting myself under a lot of pressure, and thankfully the fans have been very gracious, and they've been very approving. So I'm just very thankful for that.
Hey guys, how's it going? Prince right here, your favorite with the DAR. Hope you're enjoying this podcast. We decided to take a quick break because this podcast or others like it would not be possible without sponsors. And this week's podcast is sponsored by Flex Investments. If you're looking to buy a home, to rent a home, to sell a home, or you know someone who needs to do those three things, then definitely reach out to our friend Donnie. You can reach out to him at flexinvestments.net, or you can call him at 573-714-4499. Please enjoy the rest of this podcast as we delve into the life and the career of James Dupre. In an industry now, during a time where it's hard to find integrity, right? And people that believe in you. What is it? So, but now you have Randy. Randy is not only validating you, he's like, I'm going to take this platform that I believe he would say God gave him, right? And I'm going to entrust this to the next generation.
Yep.
Now I have an interesting question. It just came to my mind. It's right. How do you ever have those moments where you probably feel like, how do you keep doing this while at the same time not getting stuck in the shadow? Because he's a hero. He really is. And but at some point you're gonna have to build, and you are, right? Like you're gonna want the next generation to say, man, James wants me to come on tour with him.
Yeah.
How do you keep those thoughts from taking control? Like, no,
Yeah, and early on in my career, I really dwelled on things like that, as far as like, I gotta make it to the next level. I gotta make it to the next level. And then, I think now though, I feel like I'm not so concerned as far as the future goes anymore. And I don't know why that is. Maybe I'm just because I've been doing this so long and I'm so tired of worrying about the future.
More wisdom.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe so. Yeah. But, as far as this tour and working with Randy, I know Randy's not going to want to do this forever. And so I'm taking advantage and soaking it all in as much as I can while he still wants to go on tour. I mean, I'm working with one of the biggest country music legends of all time. And so, and then not only that, but he's given me, opportunities to work. I've been on the Opry twice, which I've always wanted to do. Yeah. Got to perform on the Grand Ole Opry, which
I was coming
was
there
incredible.
Next, but come on, but take us there.
So, and it's just things like that, and I've learned so much from him because, as even in his, his current state with aphasia and everything, he is still so happy to be out and seeing his fans, and the smile that he
seems so genuine.
He is
and humble.
He's a very genuine, humble guy. I've never seen him say no to anyone who wanted a picture with him or anything.
Right.
And he'll sit there for 2 hours sometimes, and as long as the line keeps coming, he's not going to say no because he loves his fans.
Take me through.
And that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
About through him, I've learned how to just be a better. If someone would consider me a hero, I've learned how to be that from him. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Have you ever heard of the name of Eddie James? You've heard of Maverick City though, right? Maverick City. Chandler Moore, Dante Bowe. These are some of the Brandon Lake.
That name does sound familiar.
These are the biggest Christian stars right now that's filling stadiums. if you've seen Christian music big, those are the guys you've seen, right?
Okay.
A lot of those guys, their Randy Travis is like Eddie James and Israel Houghton and Kirk Franklin.
Yes.
You know Kirk Franklin.
Yes. I used to work at a Christian bookstore years ago in college, and I remember selling all the music from back then. That was
Okay.
like early 2000s.
Do you remember the music like, there's an album called Me, God, on My Piano. It was Breakthrough. I Want to Clap loud, a Little Louder Than Before. These songs are like Eddie James.
Okay.
Right? And so you're talking about being kind, how Randy is super kind. My mentor for a very long time has been Eddie James. And I would see him, you know, I mean, he would sit there for hours and take photos. And then there was always those people who wanted to just talk about everything.
Yeah.
And he would just listen.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling security, you know, don't try to stop them. Just let them go.
Yeah.
And I realized toward the end of my journey of traveling with him that it's all about people. Everything we do is about people. And people will remember how you made them feel.
Yep.
And so I'm so glad you caught on to that, because I think a lot of artists too who this whole thing of like being self-made. I don't think there's any such thing as self-made, right?
I agree, because you have to have a team, you have to have support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so again, you need people. So I love that. One thing you did with Randy Travis, you if I get this wrong, tell me, but you provided the vocal bed and you use AI.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so people are tripping right now in the industry because they wake up one day and AI has made a full music video with their voice, with their face, without their approval. And they're fighting against AI. But you use it.
Yes.
I love it. Why?
Well, and keep in mind, this was done a few years ago whenever AI was still very, very new, and I didn't even really understand it. I still kind of don't, but but you know,
I don't think any of us do.
it's I guess the story of that is Kyle Lenning, again, Randy's career-long producer. I was working with him back a few years back, and we were doing, like I said, a project on me, and one of those songs was Where That Came From. And one of my favorite songs that I've ever recorded, and it got put on the shelf, and I thought it would never be heard ever. But Kyle also loved that song, and I didn't know this at the time, but he was working with some people building an AI model for Randy to see if it would work, you know. Still very unsure, like, if that was even the right road to go down. But being that Randy was still here with us, just unable to sing, he was able to give his full approval and was still able to
Bluff. I hope that was caught on camera.
That reminds me of where I'm from. In Chico.
Absolutely. Welcome.
But he was still, you know, able to give his approval and work in the studio with Kyle to make sure it was all done right before anyone else heard it. And what they did was they took my vocal track from Where That Came From, and they processed it through the AI model, and it came out sounding like Randy. And so they tweaked it and polished it up, and I mean, if you haven't heard it yet, it's unbelievable. I remember the first time I heard it, and I thought it was Randy. I thought he had recorded it years and years ago, and I just didn't know about it, you know. But it was actually my vocal processed through the AI with.
That's insane.
Yeah.
If music stopped tomorrow and the crowds went home, right? Who is James Dupre? Am I saying it right?
Yep.
Dupre. Who is James Dupre? It all stops tomorrow. There is no microphone.
I think I'm a dad, you know. I'm a dad.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm a husband and a dad, and well, that would give me a lot more time to spend with my kids. That's for sure.
Yeah. Are you in those? Are you in the sacrificing seasons now? Like, meaning having to be away a lot?
Yes, but I live back in Louisiana now, and so I'm able to see my kids much more often, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm able to be around and attend, you know, the different events and ball games and things like that. So, but my boys are pretty much all grown now. I mean, my oldest is almost 20 years old. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you have good genes, Dupre. Okay, so again, this is why earlier I asked about, your first album. You kind of hinted going back home to mom, right? That's kind of like the place I feel like I've been in. It's and you also talk about like you were chasing success and you were chasing things. And I have to finish listening to the album, but I feel like that's also been my journey where I realized the last 5 years I've been chasing success. And what I've realized in the last 5 years, true success is people and it's family.
Yep.
That's it. And so my eyes are set back home to Florida. So at some point here in the near future, what is the most expensive lesson you've had to pay for in this industry, whether it be financially or emotionally?
I guess early on, I'd probably, I was in a hurry. I was in a big hurry for some reason, and so I probably didn't spend as much time developing the relationships that I should have developed. And, may have burned a bridge or two here or there, because of that. And that
Say that again. Oh my gosh, I've burned some bridges. Oh Lord.
Yeah. And looking back, I'm maybe that's a common story for people in other areas too. But I think for me, if I could go back and just kind of focus on that early on, and it, like you said earlier, it's just all from wisdom and experience as you get older. You start thinking back and maybe I shouldn't have handled it that way, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And but you live and you learn, and I feel like I'm a bit better of a person because of it.
Yeah, there's no regrets. There's no regrets. And so, of course, like you've already talked about the Grand Ole Opry, right? That's been massive. So I want to ask you this. I know at the Apollo there's this tradition where when you go on stage, you rub the log. You've heard about that, right?
Yes.
Is there a tradition at the Opry when you go on stage for every artist?
Well, every artist probably has a different, like maybe superstition kind of thing that they do. But there is one of the most iconic things about the Opry is the circle. And the circle is where the singer stands, where the microphone stand is. Right. And what's cool about it is the venue or the Opry House now, it was built in 1974, I think it was, but it used to be downtown Nashville at the Ryman Auditorium. That's where Hank Williams first played, and that's where there were so many of those old country
Before
legends.
they got there, that place started with the Christian revival.
Yes.
Which is, you know about that?
Well, I knew that it was a church. I mean,
it was the revival of that part of the country in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy. I don't know if you're a believer or not, but even if you're not, even if you are, history.
The history is, WSM, I don't know if that might be the oldest radio station in the country, but they broadcast live from there.
Do you know?
6:50 a.m.
WSM, if that's the oldest radio station in the country?
Has to be one of them anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the cool thing about the circle at the Opry is that when they moved from the Ryman to the new Opry House, they took a piece of the stage floor, the wood floor, where all the singers stood, and they cut out a big circle of the floor and moved it to the new Opry House. And so the rest of the stage is, the new stage, but then they have this big piece of circle cut out from the original Ryman stage.
Wow.
So where you're standing basically is still technically where Hank Williams stood, you know what I mean? So it's super cool.
And all those old preachers and singers.
Exactly. And so...
Gosh, that's so unreal.
When I made my Opry debut, I remember making it early there for sound check that day, and I stood outside of the circle and I just looked at it for a few minutes before I stepped right in. It was such a huge moment.
For me, I was speaking at the Cajun Dome. Have you heard of the Cajun Dome?
Yeah.
In Louisiana.
I live in Lafayette.
Okay. Yeah. So I was there with Sean Foy and Eddie James, and there were thousands. And I had this tradition. What I would do is like to keep me grounded, right? because what I was doing in the Christian world, it got no bigger, right? Which is a beautiful thing, and I'll always go back and do it. But
Yeah.
I would always, I would go outside to where everyone was lined up, and I would just remember I used to be in that line, and I would
Yeah.
say, one day I'm gonna go to the back,
Yeah.
you know? And people don't know that the back is not as luxurious as you think it is.
That's where all the dumpsters
That's all the
are.
dumpsters are, and you know, you go through a big door.
Yeah.
But I would go up to the very top of the stadium before the people came in, and I would sit there, and I would look at the stage to see how far I'd come,
Yeah.
you know? And then, like you're talking about standing outside of that circle, I would go to the stage in the center of it and just look out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through this experience leading up to the opening of the concert. And then usually I'd have time to go out there and preach, man. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's so like you're just taking me back. And I can't imagine the Opry. So how difficult is it, like, for any country artist to get there?
It's difficult to get to.
That circle.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, for me, that's what I measure.
The pinnacle.
Yeah, to me, that was the top. If you play the Opry, you've made it. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm still not. I still don't think that I've made it. I mean, it's because I'm my, worst critic. But to play on the Opry was just such a one of those. I don't know. I just felt like there was one goal that I had in my life that I actually reached, and it was to play on the Grand Ole Opry, and so I could check that right off. Even though I would love to play 100 more times over there, the fact that I've gotten to play twice now, and it's just it doesn't get any better than that.
My gosh. So it's all happening, right? What would you recommend the best way to listen to that song would be? Is it writing down Highway 67, windows down?
Well, the name of the album is It's All Happening.
Right.
But there's not actually a song called It's All Happening. It's just
I know the album.
Yeah, the album.
Yeah, the album. Yeah. So if I'm listening to the album, what is the best way for me to listen to the album? Is it driving? Is it just sitting on my porch? Like, what would you say?
Yeah, it's more of a laid back kind of vibe. It has a lot of not a lot, but a little bit of bluegrass influence in there as well, because it was co-produced by Jerry Douglas, who is one of the greatest dobro players of all time. Plays with Alison Krauss and Union Station, among others. But so yeah, there's a little bit of that. It's like a laid back bluegrass kind of vibe to it. So yeah, I would say just a good front porch would be perfect, I think.
Yeah. You talked about the map, I think in the second or third song, about a map.
Drive.
The drive.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What's happening? Like, what was happening when you wrote that?
That was a song written by Roger Ferris, I believe.
Okay.
So on It's All Happening, I wrote 2 songs.
Okay.
Memories of Heaven and A Hero in My Eyes.
Okay.
And the others were pitched to me.
Okay.
But yeah, Drive, I remember just going through these songs with Kyle, because I was getting pitched a lot of songs from songwriters. And, we were having to just kind of go through them and pick out our favorite ones. And I just, we were trying to focus on songs that not necessarily had a common theme, but just flowed well together and kind of spoke about who I was as a singer and as an artist. And that song Drive was just one of those kind of, it was about a breakup, but there's something that feels good about it, about just getting in your car and just driving and not just throw away the map. You know what I mean? You know So
yeah, I started listening to all the songs like the last 2 days, but our days have been crazy. We've had like 3 fallen heroes, so I didn't get to do everything in depth. But I'm going to definitely this weekend just go through. You have 3 albums, three albums.
3 albums and an EP.
And an EP, and then you have some singles. So
Yep.
I'm going to dive on those this weekend. What are the plans tonight? Where to next? Tell us about it.
So we're playing here in Poplar Bluff tonight.
You said it right, by the way, so that's cool.
Well, That's how I read it in Popular Book.
Yeah. People always say popular. I'm like, what's popular about it? If you're listening, okay, go ahead.
Well, so yeah, we're playing here, and if you haven't seen the show yet, it's basically
there.
a live documentary
Yeah.
with music, and we're playing all of his #1 hits. It's his original band, but it's a lot of video involved, a lot of clips from his career, movies, TV shows, interviews. So you really get to know Randy throughout his career. So it's like I said, like a live documentary with a concert, and he's on stage the whole time with his wife Mary, and so it's a really unique experience. But after tonight, we're going down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama,
Okay.
and then up to Kentucky after that, Prestonburg, I think, and then we're down in Louisiana. We're down on the Gulf Coast next weekend. And then we take a break for Easter.
Okay. Have you guys done Hot Springs, Arkansas yet?
No.
Have you ever heard of Hot Springs, Arkansas?
I have.
Dude, I got the craziest connections. Well, I got connections everywhere. But you guys got to do Hot Springs, Arkansas.
I would love to, yeah. I remember visiting there when I was a kid, but yeah. We've played Little Rock, but that's
Little Rock,
about it.
yeah. Hot Springs is like, I mean, Al Capone had a whole hotel floor where he'd go hang out. And
Really?
yeah, so all the mafia would go there
wow.
to hang out. And so Hot Springs is a great place. And one of our facilities that, I mean, a ton of money went into it. State of the art is actually there in Hot Springs. And that's where I lived for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so like where have you guys wanted to go anywhere and you haven't been able to go yet? Or you just like right now you're kind of just dreaming of what's next, or like
As far as the tour goes?
Yeah,
the tour,
yeah.
I mean, we've played a lot. I mean, all over the continental U.S., but I guess, I mean, it would be cool. You know, we just actually booked a cruise for next year too, so that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like for like anyone can come?
Yeah.
Dude, look, I have to get your number today. I want to go. I want to go.
It's in April, country cruising.
Yeah.
Next year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah. No, seriously, I want to.
Yeah, we're leaving out of Tampa actually.
We'll talk off camera. I don't want to say my plans on camera, but.
But yeah, country cruising. But no, I think, it would be really fun to, Randy used to go over to Europe and, I mean, Canada. Those are places we haven't done on this tour yet.
Okay.
But that would be really.
Man, I have friends. So I was like the main guy for Eddie James, where I'm the one that made the connections all over the world, and then we'd go. And so you say Europe, Africa, South America, you name it. We got to talk. I mean, I think that'd be something really cool. Have you guys thought about Brazil yet? Like how known was he in Brazil? Like he had to have been known in Brazil.
I mean, he's been all over the world. I imagine he's been down to South America before.
Yeah.
I would think, but no, we haven't. As far as I know, there's no talks of going down there.
All right, well, we're gonna talk. Anyways, man, thank you so much for being here. Before we close out, is there any advice you'd want to give to a young person watching this who's dreaming, and not just about being a singer, but anything?
Yeah.
Any advice you don't want to give to them? The advice that you may give to some of your kids at home.
Yeah. Whenever I was trying to decide what I wanted to be when I grew up, music was always my passion, but I didn't pursue it right away because I didn't think that it was a feasible career choice. And so I went with my second choice, which was the weather, and I love the weather, but I guess my point is, don't be afraid. Just no matter what your dream might be, if that's what your true passion is, go for it right away. Don't waste any time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, man, thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in to the Daily American Podcast, and we'll see you back here again. God bless you. Hey, guys, and that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's podcast. It has been phenomenal. James Dupre, Randy Travis here in town. It's amazing. Hey, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We've been having some amazing ratings as far as people watching it, but we want you to stay up to date. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and please share it with someone else. Sharing is caring. And also, don't forget, this week's podcast was brought to you by Flex Investments. And again, if you know anyone who's looking to buy a home, sell a home, or rent a home, they can reach out to Donnie at flexinvestments.net or call him at 573-714-4499. Thank you. God bless you. We'll see you back here again next time.